Welcome to Inside Look with Crystal. This is the show where you look inside of the creative spaces that power creative people. I'm your host, Chad Davies, and today we have someone I truly admire, Anthony Laney, on the show with the studio. Here we go. Welcome, Anthony. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Chad. Happy to be here.
I'm so thrilled to have you on this because, number one, I tried to do an interview with you months ago and I botched it and didn't record it. But number two, I've always looked up to the work you do.
We had fun nonetheless.
We did have a lot of fun, and I did read that book. But number two, you do some of the most stellar work in the South Bay, in Los Angeles, I'd argue. Your houses and I guess the projects you take on really do stand apart from the rest. So just getting the insight as to how you work and how your team works is thrilling to me, and I'm excited to dive in with you today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Cool. So I guess I'll just start off, like, where are we?
Yeah. We're in Hermosa Beach. It's this little industrial district on Cypress Avenue. This is the Laney LA studio. So we've moved a few times since launching 6.5 years ago, but this is a 5,800 square foot former auto repair shop. And we moved in just about 1.5 years ago. Before we got the building, it used to be a gym. And so we stripped it down to the bare bones, added just a series of rooms, doing some interior architecture, fast-paced, low budget. But this is the home for about 14 architects and designers. A year ago, it would be full 5 days a week. Today, it is kind of a home base. So our team kind of touches and goes as they need to and still work from home a lot. But it's a special space to me, and I'm actually here every day.
I know you're there every day, and I appreciate that you're a hardcore business owner that I know you mean business. So tell me, this isn't your first studio, right?
No, we started in my garage, then we moved to a storefront in Hawthorne. So this is kind of the third generation.
Awesome. So when you were moving to the space, you said it was like a car repair shop, but was there anything special about this place that kind of spoke to you?
So to be honest, it doesn't show up in this photo, but this has 2 parking lots, and in Hermosa Beach, parking is gold. So that stood out to me. So we have our client parking lot off to the right. We have the 25 spaces for our staff on the left. And so that stood out to me. It's also just a few blocks from the ocean. So that stood out to me. In terms of the architecture, it was a blank slate. I loved that it has these kind of open beams on the ceiling. It has a series of skylights peppering the space. It has the north-facing glass off to our right. And for us, I just quickly imagined the 2 anchoring elements. So down, you'll see where it says Hello Hermosa. That's our team talk area. So we do our internal lectures and a lot of our client presentations on that dual projection screen there. And then off to the left, we have our material library. It's in that arched space. And that used to be a loading dock, that window there facing the parking lot. So we get natural light there. That's where we kind of touch and feel the physical materials. And then we just have a series of conference rooms that only have the inward-facing windows for kind of the quieter meetings where we port people onto the Zoom calls and do some head-down work.
Awesome. I'm going to poke around here just for a second, you went
Yeah.
I'm going to show people around. So I love these sliding doors here, and this is something it's probably integrated on all of your projects at this point. But nice to see this in your office space as well.
Thanks. Yeah, those are, I'll give a shout out to this newer company called Optima from Portugal. They've been showing up on a lot of our projects just because the detailing is so elegant and simple. The profile is very narrow. And so we had to splurge on something. For me, it was the doors because you touch it. And we also splurged on the lights. Linear architectural LED extrusions are very popular, but I wanted to create the impact of something big visually, and actually they're behind me right now. So yeah, we just kind of created that diagonal grid of lights. the Team Talk wall to anchor it. Usually it says, Thursday on the wall. That's what it says right now. And yeah, I'm sitting in that little conference room as we speak.
That's awesome. This conference room right here, this one?
Yeah, that's where I am.
That's so funny. Okay, cool. This is like real life Inception. Okay, so before we go over to the team talk, because this I think we could talk about for half an hour, I want to go into the materials library because first of all, this is like what you see on your website. You kind of see this beautiful picture. Who's seated in that picture at this library? I feel like I know, but everyone else doesn't know.
Oh, yes. I believe it's our business director, Mebra Kisaka. So in many ways, she's the heart and the soul of our company. It's a very popular spot to sit. I feel like a big part of our projects in suburban neighborhoods, Chad, is the removal of context. You don't always have a sweeping view in every direction. So we want to frame the view, but also create these inward views. So I wanted to create a view of the office from the office. So you're not actually looking at the parking lot. I'm of course letting in light from the parking lot, but you're looking at the thing in the foreground. And that device is important in a lot of our work. It's less important when you're on the open prairie or on the top of a mountain, but when you're in these suburban, slightly industrial environments, you have to create your own inward views.
Yeah, and from my photography background, it's the same thing, right? You're framing what you want your viewers to see, and that's exactly what you've done with this arch. Mm-hmm. And this room is stunning. You walk through your space, and you can't help but look left the whole time. I'm gonna jump. Yeah, I mean it's awesome. I'm gonna jump in, and then, I mean, you can kind of see some looks like materials and some staging on the walls, but I think on this side, we actually got closer and. In all these cabinets, you actually have materials stored. Or is each cabinet like for a client, or how is this organized?
Yeah, it's that simple. Every cabinet has an active design project. My wife came up with this system of these confectionery, we call them the cupcake carts. What's great is you can space them out so you can handle tall samples or really flat, narrow samples. They're on wheels, so we can wheel it out to the Team Talk station or beside someone's desk. We lay out those trays on the big center island, then we put it all away. We designed these cabinets, of course, so there's no toe kick. So they're just touch latch cabinets there. That was designed by Eric Mackey of Board and Block. I'm a big fan of his work. He's a local carpenter. But yeah, we just roll around these carts, and I think we're the first architecture firm to use this system, but it really does work, and I would encourage others to use it.
Yeah, I love this because everything's hidden. And I've been in a few offices just through my work, and usually see stuff strewn everywhere or like piled into a cupboard. But this is so organized. You could actually like take it out and move it around the office without like taking 6 armfuls of materials.
Exactly. My team puts up with me. I want clean horizontal surfaces, and this helps kind of hide the junk.
It does. I need to do this at my house. Anyways,
yeah.
Moving on. So this room, awesome room. Also, you really do lose the parking lot. You mentioned that, and I want to point it out. Like if you're back here, you don't know there's a parking lot through that window because of how you've designed and structured the space. So incredible job there.
Thanks.
I'm going to move over here, and this is what you call the Team Talk area. And when things were normal, I recall your Instagram always filled with talks on a weekly basis or on a quarterly basis with this screen as kind of the focal point. Can you kind of explain this space to everyone?
Yeah. So if you're able to like look up at the ceiling, you'll see all there is 2 projectors. You're going to have to turn a little bit. Those are not expensive. Those are just normal 4K projectors. And we found this little device that lets them map together seamlessly to a headless Mac Mini. So when we were in our our Hawthorne space, we just had a big white wall. We put up the 2 projectors, and we had our team talk. So ever since we've been a studio, we've just had this Monday morning tradition of starting the week with some non-project oriented lecture just for our team. It used to just be me and my wife and a couple of teammates, and we would just talk about the podcast that inspired us, or the book that we just finished, or the lecture that we heard. And it was just an opportunity to kind of share what we're learning, and it's just become one of my favorite traditions. And so now it's a voluntary kind of rotating basis. And it's kind of turned into kind of a pretty intense, the bar for the lecture is now very high. There's like this inner competition of like outdoing your own teammates. So lots of graphics and animations and editing. But this is where it happens. That's our second ping pong table there. During COVID, we're actually meeting at that station when we meet indoors, because it's a big open space, and we'll have we have this television on wheels that also supplements. So it's fun to have a primary screen and a secondary screen. So yeah, it's a big open space, multi-purpose. You know, in 2019, we had our big Christmas party out there, and that's it. And you'll see in the background 2 smaller, quiet rooms that folks will work in if they have to do head down work. But as you can see off to the left, most of the desks, including mine, is just out in the open work pit area.
Absolutely. And I've seen a lot of commercial offices, like big offices, and I feel like they're transitioning more to this concept where you have like it's almost collaborative. You can almost trade desks, right? You don't need everyone with their own desk. Like, you do your stuff at home, you come in and you collaborate and you work together to get the ideas flowing, then you head out and actually get the work done. And it feels like you're ahead of the curve.
That's right. I mean, we're learning the same lessons that everyone's learning. We used to have big 27-inch iMacs, and one by one, my staff were like, I would rather have a laptop. And so now everyone has a laptop. And while I do have my dedicated chair and desk in the work pit, you know, I'll be there for a couple hours, but then I'm moving around. I'll even sit in what we call the living room at the far end of the building, just to like, I don't know, just to have a little bit of diversity, right? To lean back and put the laptop on my lap. You know, my team works crazy hard, and so adding a little bit of diversity is fun.
Yeah, I think moving around helps your brain keep moving, for sure.
Yeah, reset. Yeah.
Talk about ping pong, because you mentioned it once or twice, and I feel like there's a story here.
I mean, we are obsessively, it's a disease. We're obsessively competitive, and so, you know, we got a ping pong table, and the level of matches just skyrocket. We play a lot of doubles. If there's any other creatives in the South Bay who want to challenge our team, we got some incredible players here. And so, yeah, literally we play every single day at lunchtime, like literally every day. And that's that. So it's fun.
That's I hear a lot about these tables like getting installed in offices and never being used, and you seem to be the complete opposite. So that's amazing. Question on that: how are you? I mean, of course, like birds of a feather flock together, but it sounds like you have a very competitive staff and work environment, and not like in a bad way, but like even with your presentations, you kind of mentioned that they've really scaled up and become these super high production things because everyone's competing with each other. Same here. What's kind of your secret sauce on like finding people that really want to compete?
Gosh, we happen to have a lot of athletes, and that's not something I looked for. That's just something that has happened. And there's this book, maybe I've mentioned to you before, but it's called Captain Class by Sam Walker. It's one of my favorite books. It's kind of like The Good to Great by Jim Collins, but for the sports world. And it just kind of tracks the idea of relentlessness. And I feel like in small business, it's just such a competitive edge to have teammates who they just want to win, right? They just have that fire in them to excel. And hopefully it's not a zero-sum game. Hopefully, you know, your winning doesn't come at the loss of someone else, except at the ping pong table. But yeah, we usually hire just by looking at the core values that we have, and none of them call for competitiveness per se, but one of them is the warrior spirit. We want people who enjoy doing hard things, who say, oh my gosh, that looks challenging, like I can't wait, as opposed to I can't wait till this hard thing is over. And I do think that's kind of a unique thing that binds my crazy team of 14 together. It's just that sweet tooth for hard things.
That sweet tooth for hard things. I love it. I think if I ask you any more questions, this is going to go way too long. So I'm going to end it here to keep this super interesting for everyone. 2 questions for you. 1, can I put this online and let people poke around your studio?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Okay. And
of
then
course.
2, who else would you recommend, it can be South Bay or beyond, who might want to participate in this? Like an artist or another architect or someone that does something creative like graphic design or video production. Is there anyone that might want to partake in doing this?
Ooh, this sounds cool. I mean, okay. So I'm going to mention 2 carpenters, very different individuals. Look them both up. One is Matt Tafoya with Cactus Cabinets. He has the most incredible carpentry shop with hidden doors and like secrets around every corner. On the other end of the spectrum is a much younger professional. His name is Eric Mackey, and he's an artist / carpenter who he helped build this space, and he built skateboards and surfboards and like the coolest kind of mid-century furniture. And both of them have just an incredible vibe. So I can put you in touch with both of them, and I hope you kick it off.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. That sounds like the perfect thing for this. That'd be incredible.
Cool.
Okay. Well, Anthony, thank you so much. I got even more out of you than I thought. So this was mission accomplished. I feel good.
That's a nice way of saying you talk a lot. Thanks, Chad. Just happy to do it.
Well, hey, I'm sure we'll talk soon, but thank you again for doing this. I'll share this all with you when we're done, and have a wonderful weekend.